Shavua Tov, everyone, and welcome back to Havdalah Happy Hour, Part 2 of our Bethel Iron Chef contest.
There was a Part 1?
There was a Part 1.
I am so hungry, I'm about to pass out.
Well, lucky you, Jeremy, because we've got our brisket taste test about to start. We've got our 3 mystery judges. I guess we can reveal them now, right?
Let's do it. We have video also.
We have video, that's right. So, Jill, you want to introduce our judges?
Oh, I'd love to. So we have 3 amazing judges tonight. Right to my left, we have Rabbi Dana Saroken. To her left, we have Ben Wachstein. And to his left, we have Rabbi Steven Schwartz. And they are our 3 not-so-mystery taste testers now.
How come they get titled and I don't?
Executive Director
Thank you.
Ben Wachstein.
Thanks.
Executive Director?
Unbelievable. Yes.
Thanks for joining
just
us,
started.
everyone. Shavua Tov. Ben, isn't it great to not be in my basement and actually be amongst other people doing this on a
Your
Saturday
basement
night?
is creepy, and I don't like it.
My wife says the same thing. She doesn't come downstairs when I'm down there. Anyway, that's another show. So, Jill, a couple weeks ago, for our listeners who are just tuning in and don't listen on a regular basis, even though they should.
People don't listen on a regular basis?
That's what my mom tells me. But anyway, for the folks who don't listen on a
That's just
regular
positive
basis,
reinforcement, Jeremy.
talk about how we got here and why we have 3 briskets with us. And yeah.
So a couple of weeks ago, at the end of Shabbat, we all got together and we were talking about a myriad of things, but our brisket recipes came up, and Ben Kreschel and I both kind of thought that ours were the best. And
I'm having second thoughts about that now.
Everyone's looking at me kind of funny at the
so we
table.
decided to do a brisket cook-off, and we looped Jeremy in and found a recipe for Jeremy because Jeremy didn't have a brisket recipe. So
I'm an eater, not a cooker.
Right, I procured a recipe for Jeremy, and the 3 of us, Ben, Jeremy, and I, each made a brisket recipe this morning in our kitchen.
Before Shabbat.
Before Shabbat, yeah, yesterday we made that.
Yes.
And this whole thing started with Ben and I on Friday morning going to the kosher butcher and getting the most expensive brisket I ever bought in my entire life.
It was not that bad.
But someone had a gift card, right? Didn't someone have a
Yes,
coupon or a
yes.
gift card? So embarrassing.
We didn't pay for this through Bethel, did we?
No, don't worry
I did
about
not
it.
approve any of those expenditures.
You didn't approve
There
our
was a
soft serve
coupon
machine
or-
either. What's your point?
We had a gift card to Wasserman.
So excited to try this.
And so you will have 3 different briskets. This you see on your plate, this is labeled brisket number 1. And in my pocket, I have a list of whose brisket is which number. So this is brisket number 1 for you to taste.
We're also going to try them
Enjoy.
at the same time, too.
We're into the brisket at this point?
We're into the brisket.
SD,
I am so excited.
can we take a picture for Rafi? I think he's gonna fish. Oh, I think he's gonna
We're
think.
also videoing this.
Yes, so we have a video, and behind the scenes, our good
Okay,
friend
here we
Esty is
go.
here. And
Don't we want to also check the aroma of the brisket? By the way, walking up to the shul a few minutes ago, the whole shul smells like brisket.
Is that a bad thing?
No?
this was also the talk of the shul while we were cooking it. There were people in the hall. Everyone kept trying to get into the kitchen. We had to lock the door.
I just
Brisket
got
number
some-
1, pretty good.
I just got some great gristle.
I
It was phenomenal. Great gristle.
So for those of you who are just listening and who aren't watching us on YouTube or on our Facebook page, Ben has a big smile on his face. Actually, Rabbi Saroken smiling too, and Rabbi Schwartz kind of hard to read.
Remember, always
This
a little
is,
angry,
this
very
is
contemplative.
a sweeter brisket.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of sweet, fairly tender.
have to say I love
Fairly tender.
So you know you have like 2 categories of brisket, right?
This is a juicy.
You have like the sweet brisket, the savory brisket, or the sweet and sour brisket. All very traditional.
So I thought the only person at the table that knows is Jill, but apparently Ben K knows as well.
I also know.
I don't know.
This is so good.
That's quite good. I would say this is more of a Rosh Hashanah brisket as opposed to a Passover brisket.
Wait, what's the difference? I'm serious.
You know, it's the sweetness for the new year.
Oh, that's nice.
Do you have a different tasting Rosh Hashanah and Pesach brisket?
No.
I didn't realize.
It's a different recipe. It's 2 different briskets. Right? One for Pesach, one for
could
Rosh
be.
Hashanah. You
So,
could.
Jill, should we start to bring the second brisket out now?
Totally
So it's
could.
ready
I would
to.
bring
I
as
feel like
many
we
briskets
shouldn't-
as you want.
I feel like we shouldn't fill up. It's
What's that?
an unfair advantage.
Talk
I will
amongst
say
yourselves,
this is
Ben.
quite a good brisket. It's quite good.
It is
I-
it's a pretty good brisket.
I don't even always love briskets.
Well, that's another podcast entirely. Rabbi Saroken's food choices is a completely different.
I know.
But this I thought was on your approved
number
list
2
because
with
you know this is
potatoes?
It
a
is.
pretty typical
is.
Jewish food
Totally.
Why does
that
brisket
you will
number
eat.
2 get potatoes and tzimmus?
Well, we're going to talk about that later.
Oh, thanks,
feels
Joe.
weird.
Ooh,
Doesn't feel fair to the first brisket.
ooh. Oh
Well-
my gosh, this is so
You know.
spectacular.
All right,
Best
I'll
day
come
of
back
work
to
ever.
brisket number 1.
Me too.
All right, so on to brisket number 2.
Brisket number 2.
This one looks very juicy. Very juicy.
Just went to eat a carrot. I
would
can't
you
eat the
do that?
carrot if I'm gonna brisket.
Riveting entertainment for a Saturday evening. And thank you again. By the way, if you're just tuning in, you are listening to the Bethel Podcast Network. This is the Havdalah Happy Hour.
It's a good brisket.
Oh, it's a good
Good
Brisket
brisket.
number 2 is a tomatoey brisket.
Agree.
I would describe everyone as being intrigued right
A
now.
little smoky. There's some smokiness to it.
Okay.
Brisket number 2. A little tomatoey, a little
My,
smoky.
my palate doesn't work in the same way. I just say it's good or not good.
Pass fail system for Ben Wachstein.
It's
But it also, like, are you, Ben, of the opinion that I find this to be true of, like, pizza? Even bad pizza is still pizza. Do you feel this way about brisket?
No, I don't know.
Oh, right. You've never eaten pizza.
I mean,
But
brisket,
yes, brisket is always good.
Pizza's my favorite food.
brisket can be tough, though.
I agree.
It can be tough sometimes.
But some
Yeah.
of that's the meat. Right.
Right,
Like, sort
yeah.
Of where you buy your meat.
Sure.
Right. The
There's
last
a
time
lot
I
of
bought my
factors.
brisket at Walmart, it was not as good.
So the last time Ben did the Target drive-up order to get his brisket.
This actually has a little bit of a kick. Like a little bit.
That's the smokiness, I think.
You have a recipe, Rabbi Saroken, for brisket? In your family, perhaps?
Trying a potato.
Thank you for that, Ben.
It's
My
okay, I
aunt
didn't.
actually did have a really good brisket recipe. and
You remember from
Rafi-
childhood?
I do.
Yeah.
And Rafi does like making brisket. Lately, we've been having London broil.
Oh, London
okay.
broil,
Broil
also
also.
great. Hard to go wrong with a London broil, though.
The potatoes are smothered in the same sauce as the brisket. Maybe it's some kind of barbecue sauce. Tomatoey, barbecue, smoky.
Were these in the oven or slow cooker?
Oven.
This about
All at the same for the same time, same temperature.
they were all prepared. We prepared this together. We're all in the kitchen, and at some point we have some photos and video also of the preparation.
There might have
For
been
this as well.
wine involved in that.
I also enjoy brisket from the slow cooker.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
We did drink wine this morning at 9:30.
So I was yesterday morning. Yesterday morning. Obviously, she had wine today also. A little confused
That's
on the day.
because on Shabbat, it's a mitzvah to drink wine, which sanctifies the day. It's good and holy to drink wine on the Sabbath.
So I,
This might be my favorite day of work ever.
So I will tell you, I was a little confused when we started cooking because there was wine, and I think did I start that about 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning? I thought we were drinking wine. I didn't realize that wine actually goes into
One of the briskets.
a brisket recipe.
I think this is kind of like a Texas
sure.
brisket.
This is delicious.
And Jill, should we get number 3?
A little like pulled beef.
So, Rabbi Saroken, if we were to have the whitefish taste test,
Oh yeah, no. Not for $1 million or tuna fish.
everybody got a price, Rabbi
I
Saroken.
know.
Everybody
no,
got a price.
I've thought about that often, but
How much it would cost you to eat some tuna
I
salad?
think about it a lot actually.
There's actually not an amount.
Not an amount?
Three.
Not an
For
amount?
me.
And here's brisket number 3 for you.
How many briskets do we have?
3.
Three biscuits.
All right.
Brisket number 3.
Rabbi?
I'm
Really is the
guessing
best day ever.
that brisket number 1 is Jeremy's. I'm guessing.
Oh, that's funny. I was going to say Jill's.
We should write these down for. I'm going to write that on my
There
napkin.
is someone that was keeping track,
Like
right?
yours?
Of what?
Well, I'd like to know what people's
I'll
guesses
let him
are.
I feel like number 2 was Ben K.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe.
Tasting number 3.
That's too much to write down. I'm not gonna do it.
Tasting number 3.
Oh, don't forget palate cleanse.
Yes, palate cleanse.
Oh, this is a number 3.
But I feel like when we're finished, everyone should just vote on just one, rather just.
This is like a friendly
Wait,
competition.
We're not
It's
gonna,
not a.
We're not gonna go 1, 2, and 3, so we can make fun of the person who came in third.
I would be okay with that.
We think that that is not good for Jewish values, and we would not encourage you to do that.
If Ben is the third one,
Okay.
then we announce it.
I'm okay with
But
that.
anybody else,
I'm okay with that.
that'll tell us no matter what, right? figure that out.
Rabbi, have you moved on to number 3 yet?
This is number 3. It's good.
Okay.
It's good. 3 distinctly flavored briskets.
This tastes a little more onions in this one.
Right there, get the onions, definitely.
I think I know whose that is. But safe to say that if any of these briskets were served, everyone would be okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a bad brisket in the bunch.
So I feel like I can't lose at this point.
That's
First time
true,
making a
Jeremy.
brisket.
Cannot
Can't
lose.
lose.
Jared, did you really make it on your own?
I really did. Jill helped with the ingredients. We were able to find the recipe, and I did it on my own. Of course, there's a backstory that maybe we'll share once.
Once you've decided, I will share a bit of a backstory.
That will make you laugh. Look, he stopped. Ben stopped eating.
No,
It's nothing bad.
I stopped. I wasn't
has a little bit of a
listening to
kick.
what you were saying.
Oh, he wasn't
He was
listening
doing
anyway.
gross.
I was focusing on the food.
This is confusing having 2 Bens on the podcast.
Can
Is
we
this the
have
first
some-
time that?
Can we have some information about the ovens in which the briskets were cooked?
It's an oven. Goes to 350.
It was the
Purchased
ovens in
in-
the kitchen at Bethel Congregation.
These are industrial ovens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Manufactured
At
in
what temperature
2018
were the briskets cooked at the same temperature?
350.
350.
350.
for about 4-ish
4
hours or
yeah,
so.
About 4 hours.
I've got mine.
Yeah, me too.
Ready for a nap now.
Not tryptophan. It's not turkey.
No, but I feel like anytime after you eat like a large amount of Jewish food, you should just take a nap.
I feel like we're missing wine on the table.
That's because we drank it all, Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
We did.
Again, I didn't realize it goes into a brisket. I thought it was for us to drink. And yeah.
How often do you all make brisket?
I make brisket, Passover, and Rosh Hashanah.
Just twice a year.
I typically do not make it because my mom makes it, but I did have to do it over COVID. I had to learn how to make brisket. And I made a couple over the course of the pandemic because I like to experiment. And I have, I think my next idea in my head to see what will happen. But I typically don't because other people make it. So I don't have to.
I feel like if my mom or wife are listening right now, I'll probably be making brisket on a semi-regular basis
Yeah,
now.
you
My
might be.
friends and I, we make a brisket on our camping trip in a slow cooker.
That's that Texas brisket style.
So in the interest of time, are we ready to vote?
I mean, I'm not in a rush, Jeremy. I don't know what's your problem.
So how do we do this? Everyone just give their top one or rank them in 1, 2, 3?
I'm good with that.
Yep.
All right. Who should we put on the spot first, Ben?
It's really good.
All right, Rabbi Saroken, why don't you start us off because you're on the end.
1, 2, 3.
That's your ranking?
But I would say I would so happily eat any of them. I would so happily cook any of them. And if I were invited anywhere and were served them, I would say it was absolutely delicious. There was not, all 3 of them tasted different. And each one was delicious in their own way.
I feel like this is tough. This is tough, Dea, when you have Ben?
Just-
No, not tough at all.
Okay.
2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 3.
Coming back.
Rabbi Schwartz?
And I'm going to go with Ben's ranking. 2,
That's
1,
right.
3 would be for me.
2, 1, 3.
But as Rabbi Saroken said, they're all very, very, very good. Very, very good. But if I was out and ordered brisket and was served any one of these 3 briskets, I would say this is a delicious meal.
They're all
All right.
amazing.
Jill is holding the results, and she is giggling. For those of you who are listening and not watching us on YouTube, drum roll, please,
So is it safe to say that
into the microphone.
Is it safe to say that 2 was the one that was the winner because 2 people ranked that one as their first one?
Let's say that 2 was the winner.
That
2
was
has to
my
be the
brisket. That was
Of course,
Jill
it was
Suffol's
Jill
brisket.
to be number
Now,
two.
wait a minute.
It's-
Brisket number 1. What were you going to say, Ben?
It's the chili sauce in Jill's brisket that I think was that kick there.
And the Sprite. You can't forget the Sprite.
Can't forget the Sprite.
So Ben and Rabbi Schwartz, brisket 2, yours was the favorite. Rabbi Saroken picked brisket 1.
That was Jeremy Silbert's.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
Wow.
but
Yeah.
wait, but the irony is
The biggest irony of all.
at about
Thank you,
12
Rabbi. I'll wash your car and walk your dog for the next week
At about 12:30, Teresa texted me, "Can you come to the kitchen?"
with a fire extinguisher.
And I ran down to the kitchen. She said, "Something's burning in that oven."
It was yours?
So Jeremy it was Jeremy's first time making a brisket on his own, I believe. And I don't
That is correct.
And I don't believe he realized that you probably need to have some sauce in the bottom of the pan.
So in my defense, the recipe, which I have available, did not say anything about putting sauce in the pan
It's
before
true,
you
it did
put your
not say
brisket.
that.
Is
You're
that why
right.
there were no potatoes?
Well,
I didn't know that potatoes.
I
I was as surprised as you. I said,
did-
"What is this?"
I
Everyone
did-
else said.
I did guess that number one was yours.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did guess that.
Can I ask a question? What was the difference between 1 and 3? 3 had more onions.
I used less
So
onions.
3
in
is
mine.
mine. 3 was mine, and
Okay.
I'm heavy on the onions and also a lot of wine in mine. So I think my mistake also though was I didn't deglaze it properly. I think I would have done things a little differently now that I know.
No onions in mine.
But lots and lots and lots of onions in mine because I love onions.
Lipton onion soup mix.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I went light on the onions. I started slicing the onions, and the knife was coming a little close to my face. And I said, "That's all. That's enough with the onions." And I started crying. And as far as wine, like I said, I got confused, and we may have drank a little more wine than I should have.
The
put in
rest of it went
brisket,
into the
but
brisket.
Yes.
Because I think wine. So the truth is, you could use wine. You can use beer for brisket as well, which is common. Which maybe I should have done also, or soda
Coca-Cola.
or like a
Yeah,
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Sprite. You use Sprite, but Coke also.
Right, mine has the Sprite and the chili sauce and
Yeah.
the Lipton onion soup mix.
Really good, Jill.
So you just got to put all the things.
So this was
in
a
Jill's
success, I
brisket.
think. This was a success. It
Do
was.
you share your recipes, you guys?
Sure.
I think the recipe should be posted.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think we'll do a follow-up. We will post each of our recipes.
We might post each.
Is there a
We might.
video of your fire?
So we don't have.
No, and I just want to point out that
Into the
my
mic.
non-competitive nature, I made sure that Jeremy's brisket did not burn to a crisp.
Non-competitive nature. Jill, all morning long, mine's going to win. Mine's going to win. Mine's going to win.
And I ran down and I did add
And it
some
did.
Sprite to the bottom of your pan.
And I
so it
thank
would
you
get-
for that. So I was actually
and
with.
we changed pans because the onions were sad.
I was actually with Rabbi Schwartz and Rabbi Saroken when we were doing what we did earlier when this incident was going on. So I thank you that. God bless Teresa for smelling smoke, and you see something, you say something. So we were able to save the brisket, but this was fun. We definitely
fun.
maybe next month we.
Well, next month is Kugel Cook Off. I think you'll be.
All right, we might be on to
Do you eat
something.
Kugel? You eat Kugel? Yeah, it's allowed for you.
Sweet
But
cocoa.
mostly. Sweet cocoa, yes.
If you are picking foods
this.
that I
Excellent.
will like, then the month after should be Cheez-It.
All right, we'll have the different flavored Cheez-It for you,
No,
which
just
I know
one
you don't
flavor.
approve of the other flavor.
Cheez-It. It'll be a short contest, but still delicious.
I think I know who will win.
This was so good.
Well, thank you all for joining us. We want to remind everyone we now have videos. So in addition to finding us on our website, you can find us wherever you go to download your favorite podcast episodes. Search for Beth L. Baltimore, but find us on YouTube. Of course, we're on our Facebook. And Rabbi.
One last quick question.
Sure.
So the brisket, was it one brisket cut into thirds?
We're not going to answer that.
I think that's important to know that. So that's a true taste test because then it was the same cut of meat, but it was flavored in 3 different ways.
So
Well, it really was.
it sort of was,
It
but
really
also
was.
wasn't. So there was no way we could buy one brisket and cut it into 3 pieces for it to make for this. So we had to buy 2, and one of them was cut in half.
Okay. All right.
But
Good
they
to
were
know.
very nice.
But
at
they were all the
butcher.
same. It was the same cut. Like, it was the same.
It was the same. It was
And
right.
where'd you get them from?
Wasserman, not endorsed.
Not endorsed.
First cut or second cut?
First cut, duh.
No, it was second cut.
Second cut.
They were second cut.
It was second cut.
Second cut with a coupon.
We wanted to get paid next week. It was second cut.
Second cut
Some
with a
people prefer second cut.
It's true. Well, the second cut has less fat.
The
When I say
gristle,
a little fatty,
the gristle is the best part of any.
Well,
piece of
that
meat.
is what really makes, I think, the good brisket is when the fat sort of melts into the meat there and really like.
One of the highlights for me was watching him trim.
Oh, Jill was
I
fascinated
was
by
so
the trimming of the
fascinated.
fat.
Have you done that before?
It's fun to
just-
watch.
How long does it take you to make one of your briskets?
Like to prep the
Depends
prep
how
time.
to prep it. It took us
like 10,
15
15 minutes.
tops.
And then what about your cooking?
Depends on the weight of the brisket.
Right. So we settled on 4 hours is a good time, but really you could go
Probably could have been,
longer.
or it could have been a little less today.
Yeah, at a lower temperature.
Mine was about 2 hours, then the fire, then another 2 hours once we
Disclosure,
swapped out.
My recipe says to cook it at 325, but
I
for
was
the
going to
sake-
say, 325.
But Jeremy said 350, so
Yeah, you could do 325. I think if we had done it on 325, I wonder.
Well, as you see, we could talk about
I
brisket.
wonder.
all-
We could. We
all
could.
night long.
On that note, everyone, thank you for joining us.
Just a reminder that the Havdalah Happy Hour happens every week, so be sure to give us a listen. Shavua Tov. We'll see you on the next one.
I need some Tums or Pepto now.